I am the manager of a small apartment complex in the downtown area of an irrelevant city. I have seen a lot of messed up stuff over the last 3 years, like one of those cat ladies you only hear about in folklore. She died, and they had to have animal control take away like 30 cats. I swear to God, I had no idea that she had that many. I thought she had like maybe 2 or 3. Anyway, last summer, I had another tenant who was even more fucked in the head. I can only tell you my half of the story, which I assure you is fucked up enough as it is. So, I get a call while I'm in a bar late Friday night from one of my tenants. Apparently, they were alarmed at a decaying odor emanating from the unit next to theirs. I knew the guy living in it. He was really old, so my first thought is the guy had died or something, and the smell was his body. Morbid, I know. I was too drunk to drive, so I had a friend give me a ride back to my place. I asked my friend if he wanted to come with me to check on this guy, and he basically told me to fuck off and that he didn't want to see a dead body. I thought, who doesn't want to see a dead body? I guess he wasn't as drunk as I was. I told him to wait in the car for a few minutes, which he agreed to. Looking back on it, I really should have made him come with me. So, I go up to the guy's door and knock a few times. I yell, "Mr. Sherman, are you okay? I'm coming in to check on you." That's not his real name, obviously. Of course, I get no response, so I unlock his door and head on in. The smell hit my sinuses like a brick in the face. I've gutted moose before, so I know a bad smell when I smell it. This was, well, it was about the same smell really. That is to say, it smelled more than enough for me to believe that there was a dead body somewhere in there. Still, I had to make sure before I called the police. I did not want to call them in on a week-old pot roast or because the refrigerator was left open or something. So, I went about exploring the apartment. I knew the layout already. Most of the units are the same, so I began to search the apartment room by room whilst holding my t-shirt over my face to keep myself from gagging. The living room, the first room you see when you enter, was surprisingly neat and clean. There were a bunch of books on the coffee table lined up in a neat stack, and the telephone was on the cabinet by the wall where it should be. Then I looked at the corner and reflexively let out a shit and backed up. There was a dog staring at me. It looked like a little black terrier, the Scotty kind. It wasn't growling or anything, so I thought he was just scared, then started laughing at myself for being afraid of it. It still wasn't moving. I was a little creeped out by how much time had passed, and it still was not moving. I thought, nah, couldn't be, but sure enough, it was stuffed. The dude had a stuffed Scottish terrier in his living room. Weird. I was still in a good mood at this point, had to chuckle to myself over getting afraid of a stuffed dog. I turned to my left and walked into the kitchen/kitchenette. The kitchen was a little bit messy. I could tell someone actually used this part of the apartment. There were just a couple of knives in the sink, and the counter had some crumbs on it and stuff. I opened the refrigerator up, hoping to God that that was where the smell was coming from. Nope, the refrigerator was completely empty. It looked like the guy hardly even used the apartment. There were almost no personal belongings in the living room or kitchen except for a couple plates that came with the place and the weird-ass stuffed dog in the living room. So, I went back into the living room and holy shit, the dog had moved. Actually, it didn't. There was a second dog behind the couch that I had not noticed the first time. Still, it almost gave me a heart attack. This weirdo guy had 2 stuffed dogs in his living room, both watching in different directions. The second dog was not a terrier, by the way. It was a little shih tzu, or some long-haired little foo-foo dog. I don't know what they're called. Needless to say, I was what the fucking pretty hard at this point, and my heart was beating so fast I could hear it in my ears. Anyway, I worked myself up a bit and went down the hallway and checked the closet. Nope, empty. The smell was definitely getting stronger now. Next up was the first bedroom. The smell wasn't so strong in there, so I didn't think I was going to find anything. I should probably point out by now that I had turned on all the lights in the place. I wasn't stupid, going around with a flashlight or something. The neighborhood is not so good around here, so I'm always on guard for people jumping out and attacking me at night. So, I flick on the light in the bedroom, and it's pretty fucked up. The mattress had been taken off of the bed and the sheets were all torn up. There were a shitload of holes and scratches in the wall, which were at chest level, so they were most likely from punching and or scraping with a knife or something. Most disturbingly, there was a shitload of red stains on the carpet. They looked a lot like wine stains. Remember, I was drunk, so blood was not the first thing to pop in my mind. It actually was blood. I was an idiot. All I remember thinking at this point is, forget about the deposit. This guy is going to get charged out the ass. The whole experience of being in this apartment was starting to get to me though. Every room I went into, I was half expecting to find a dead body, so I just wanted to find the source of that smell and then get the fuck out of there. So I went to the bathroom, and there was a fur carpet in there. Except it wasn't a carpet. It was like 20 different little furs, all laid out onto the floor. They were mostly brown and black, but there were a couple white ones. I could not tell if they smelled bad, but they were definitely not the main source. I went down the hall to the second bathroom, timidly muttering stuff like, "Mr. Sherman, are you in here?" I started out in a good mood, but after getting startled that hard twice in a row, my adrenaline was going. Shit felt like a horror movie. Anyway, I went into the bedroom, and sure enough, there was a dead body. He was lying face down on his bed, with his knees on the floor and his pants off, ass bare, and pointed straight at the doorway, at me. Anyway, I got the fuck out at that point and told my friend in the car what I saw. Of course, he didn't believe me until the police I called showed up. I never got to see the worst part. One of the cops told me about it. Apparently, this dude was a veterinarian and had been taking home all the dead bodies of animals he'd put down. He had made a fetish of skinning them all and just throwing the skinned bodies into the tub in the second bathroom. I guess the first bathroom was too good for that, so that's where he kept the furs. The worst of the worst part is that the guy died from a heart attack while jerking it with the intestines of one of the animals. Apparently, he had made a fetish of using their guts as jerk-off slaves and just let them pile up in the bathtub after he was done with them. In the end, the deposit, $500, did not begin to even cover the damage of the apartment, let alone the emotional damage he did to the apartment manager, me. Yup, I hate my job. That might be the most fucked up thing I've ever read. Be me, 12 years old, being adventurous, wanders to wood behind my house. After 10 minutes of walking, come across an old barn. Me being me, go inside the barn. Come across rusted old tools and a chamber with a rusty lock after exploring inside. Finds a hammer with all the other rusted tools, breaks shit open. Goes inside chamber / mystery room. Finds bloodstains on the walls and a rotten decaying smell wafts up to my nose. Freaking the fuck out. Try to run back outside from the barn. Trip. Fall onto a pile of fucking bones. Scared as fuck, noping the hell out of there. A week or so passes, have not told anyone, too scared to say shit. I go back into the woods, trying to find the barn again. It isn't where I found it. Wonders if it's all a dream, but I still remember it vividly to this fucking day. Still can't find the goddamn barn, so glad I can't. Riding bike in woods near a park. Get really far from the group by taking the bike trails. Start getting a little worried, but I figure it's fine since it's near a park. Take a trail that's off the beaten path, even get a sick feeling and slight regret. Go around the curve and ride down the trail. Notice to my right, maybe 6 feet away, a pedo-looking white man in his 40s is standing there with his hands up to grab me in a "I gotcha" pose and an extremely evil smile on his face. It's so over the top, it's almost like he was trying to prank me. But that does not make sense, considering how far into the woods he was, and near a park with children. Feel my heart sink, and I pedal away as fast as I possibly can, like it's some sort of shitty movie. I almost run off the cliff of the curving trail, and my front tire falls down. I have to pick it up, back up, and right away again. Get the fuck out of there and go back to the group. Tell the parents, and nobody gives a shit. It never hit me how close I came to being almost assaulted or killed in the woods. It seems like such an impossibility that only happens to other kids, but one slip up and my life could have been changed from that moment. Also, this story is absolutely real. It was almost cartoonish how sinister he managed to look. Scariest moment of my life. Huh, I got a good one for you. Be me. Parents are divorced. At dad's for the time being. Live beside woods. Watching YouTube on the couch in the living room, which has a huge ass window in it. Think it used to actually be a garage or something. Light turns on in the woods across the street at around 10 PM. Meh. Watching YouTube again. 2 hours later, I get up cause I'm bored to go see what dad is doing. See that the light is in the exact same spot it was on at. Didn't really question it, it wasn't too late quite yet. Hung out with dad and we watched A Quiet Place, ending made me cack. Shotgun cock. Went back to couch to sleep on because guess bad as ass. Realized the light is still on around 2 AM. Man, who the fuck is up at this time of night? Get curious. Woods is real close to me, and the light was not far at all. Decide fuck it, I will just glance over there to see if everything is alright. Go out, walk to the woods, and look inside from the line which you enter. Literally no one is using the light at all, just sitting there. Pull out phone and take a picture. Realize that there is a piece of paper in front of the light. Pick it up. There is a smile on it. Realize I'm in a real bad spot at the moment. I hear something in the distance. Everything felt really quiet. Could not see anything, so picked up the bright ass light and still could not see anything near me. Took a couple of pics and skimmed over them. Saw one that gave me the biggest goosebumps I've ever had. In the background, you could see a pair of eyes. Look up in the direction I saw it in the picture, and it was to the right of me, real close, near the tree that you will see in the picture here in a sec. Flashlight was not directly on it, but I could tell it was about 6 to 7 inches tall, and it was anorexic as fuck. As soon as I glanced at that, I booked it. Did not hear anything chase me. Not like I would anyways, since it managed to somehow creep on me without making a peep. Run in the house, lock the doors, tell dad, and call police. Police can't find anything / trace of anything. Ended up sleeping in the guest bedroom from then on. Human / animal chimera with over 95% human DNA. Possibly some kind of bioweapon engineered in secret underground labs being field tested. From the notes. What you are seeing was smuggled out of the UFO Congress in NV in 2009, February. The entity was said to be found in Mexico. The story goes that the people who found it tried to keep it captive, and it chewed off one of its hands to get free. It was also screaming in a way that scared them deeply. Out of panic, they tried to drown it. After 30 minutes, they took it out of the water and it was still alive, and became very violent and louder than ever. They again put it back in a bucket of water to kill it for fear of it getting away. After 45 minutes, they again took it out, and it was more pissed off than ever. It was then left in the bucket of water all night, and was indeed dead the next morning. The feet are identical to human feet. It has the same amount of teeth and vertebrae as a human. The skull appears to be more like the skull Lloyd Pyle has than human. This is believed to be a hybrid. It is believed to not have been created by aliens, but instead by humans in a research lab and gotten away. They are now said to be entities 2 feet tall like this, seen in that area, that are avoiding contact as much as possible with humans. I used to live in Solvay in New York when I was real young, and I had a friend who lived on the other side of a pub next to my apartment building. I went over there a lot and played duck hunt with him on NES. One day though, I had left the apartment to go over to his house when I was supposed to be napping. My mom was fucking furious when she found me over there, but I just thought it was because I was supposed to be napping. Turns out, the guy that lived in my friend's building had chopped up some people and stashed their beds under the porch out front. Be me, around 10 years ago, 12 to 13 at the time, Lived in a swampy region in a town called Citra, NFL. Decent sized piece of land, around 5 acres or so. Had a big field around a quarter mile from our back door. Clotheslines and shit, since poor, no dryer. One night around 10 PM I think. Have 2 younger brothers, at the time 9 and 10. For some reason, Mom comes out of the bedroom and calls me. "Anon, I need you and your brother to take the clothes out to the line." I argued, of course, due to the fact it was pitch black outside and the lines weren't even near the house. Mother insists, so we comply. Myself and my youngest brother, 9, head down the stairs out the back door. I was carrying the clothes basket full of wet clothes, heavy as fuck. Lil bro had a shitty flashlight. I think it's somewhat important to mention a little bit more about our property and try and give you a better idea of what we were dealing with. Basically, for around a quarter mile out of the back of our house were thick woods. Now, when I say thick woods, you could not see the sky, stars, moon at all until you got out to the field. And another note, our dad used to tell us we lived on an old Native American burial ground to fuck with us. Maybe it was true. We did find a lot of flint and arrowheads on our property. So here we are in the pitch black under the trees, heading out to the field. Anyways, continuing story. So, on our way out to field, flashlight starts dying, of course. Start cursing at little brother to fix the flashlight because I can't see shit. Of course it wasn't his fault, but I was still steamed that I was even having to do this in the middle of the night. He hit it a few times and it became a little brighter and stopped flickering. Continuing out to the lines. Arrive out there and start hanging up clothes while he holds the light. Another thing relative to the story worth mentioning is that I cannot whistle to save my life. I have never been able to, and I still cannot to this day. However, my little brother was pretty good at whistling, so what happened next didn't really faze me at first. Start hearing whistling. Tune is somber, and I remember that I felt uneasy hearing it. Can't recall how it sounds today, but it was stuck in my head for a while after this. I tell my little bro to cut out the whistling, that it is giving me the creeps. He shines the flashlight into my face, and I was like, what the fuck? He then shines the flashlight onto his face, and he looks legitimately scared. It did not register immediately, but I realized that he was not whistling, and that it was getting louder and drawing closer. I turned to look out into the field, and with the dim glow of the flashlight, I saw the silhouette of a man around 20 to 30 yards away. I had heard some rustling in the grass, but had not thought much of it. We had tall grass in the field, and there were almost always rabbits running around out there. The rustling seemed to be getting faster and drawing closer. Footsteps. At this point, I just looked at my brother and said run. I took off towards the house. For some reason, dumb-ass brother picks up clothes basket and tries to run with it. He was right behind me until we hit the wooded area of the property. He could not see the ground, and he tripped on a stump. Yelled for me to wait for him. Nope. I just kept on running. I guess he caught up to me, because he was right behind me when I finally hit the back door. Slam door shut and lock it. Mom is standing there with what the fuck look on her face. Tell her story, and she dismisses it. Tells us we can worry about the clothes in the morning. We told our dad, and to make us feel better, he got his shotgun and brought our dog out there to the field with us along with him. Had a pit bull at the time, was a good dog, to investigate. Walked around the area a little bit and checked it out. Didn't find anything, so he said it was probably our neighbor whistling. Our only neighbor's porch is like half a mile from where we were. My brother remembers it as vividly as I do, and to this day, neither of us know who or what the fuck was in our field, but we both agree it was a pretty creepy situation. Here is a story I dug up from the Philippines, circa 1951. It's a pretty famous case, and every time I read it, it freaks me the fuck out. The Far East has some pretty cool beast stories. I will spend a little time tonight trying to dig some up and posting anything good I find. It was a sultry May evening in 1951, and the Manila police patrols were expecting trouble. There was the smell of it in the air, and it was as safe as a prediction as the storm warning which was being made by the distant rumble of the approaching thunderstorm. That was why a patrol car sped instantly along the main street when they received a message that a crowd was gathering outside of one of the waterfront bars. The car skidded to a stop as a terrified scream rang out. Forcing their way through the watching crowd, the constable saw a girl rolling about on the ground. She was shouting, "Keep it away from me! Keep it away! Oh please, won't someone help? I can't stand the pain." But there was nothing anybody could do, for there was no one anywhere near the girl. Yet the shocked policeman clearly saw teeth marks appearing on the girl's arms and neck. As nobody else moved to help her, the crowd just watched in superstitious horror. The constable sprang forward and carried the frantically struggling girl to the car, manacled her, and drove at top speed all the way to headquarters. All during the journey, she fought against the manacles, screaming and sobbing. "Please call the thing off. It's biting me to death. I can't stand it anymore." But there was little the policeman could do. In fact, there was nothing anybody at headquarters could do but summon the police doctor. At first, they suspected that the girl, Clarita Villaneuva, had been taking drugs or drinking, but there was a more macabre, inexplicable reason for it all. A reason so fantastic that, at first, it even fooled the police medical officer, Dr. Mariana Lara, who gave her one quick look and snapped, "She's having an epileptic fit." The policeman next took Clarita to a cell, ignoring her pleas not to leave her alone. As the cell door slammed, Clarita collapsed to the floor, sobering bitterly. A few minutes later, she started screaming uncontrollably, and this time, the two policemen came running. The distraught girl moaned to them, "The thing is coming at me. It's coming through the cell door, as if it weren't there." Whatever it was looked like a man, she claimed, but it had big bulging eyes and wore a cape over its shoulders, and it could float in midair. The policemen let themselves into the cell, but they could see nothing. All they could do was try to calm the girl. Yet, even as they watched, more and more bite marks began appearing on her arms. This time, the policemen decided to send for the chief of police, the mayor, and once again, the medical officer, Dr. Lara. They arrived, and everybody agreed that the bites could not possibly have been self-inflicted, for no one could bite herself on the back of the shoulders. Yet Clarita clearly was being bitten there. Eventually, the exhausted girl fell asleep, and in the morning, she had to appear in court to face charges of vagrancy. But, just as she was being taken into the court, she screamed that the thing was back. The two policemen beside her saw teeth marks, deep and painful looking, on her arms, hands, and neck. Several newspaper reporters, court officials, and Dr. Lara stared at them in sheer astonishment. For 5 terrifying minutes, the attack went on until Clarita fell unconscious to the floor. Then the amazed medical officer carried out an on-the-spot examination and found himself baffled. "These bites are genuine," he told reporters, "and they are not self-inflicted." The reporters knew that they were onto a great story and rushed to catch their additions. Half an hour later, Mayor Arsenio Laskin arrived and spoke to Clarita, whose arms and hands were badly swollen by then. Mayor Laskin decided to ride in the ambulance with the medical officer, Lara, and see that nothing happened to the unfortunate girl. But even in the ambulance, she shouted once again that the thing was after her. Only on this occasion, there were 2 of the creatures, both with the same large, staring eyes. Both the mayor and the doctor said on oath that they watched as vicious-looking teeth marks came up on both sides of the girl's throat and her hands, even as the mayor was holding them in an effort to comfort her. It took 15 minutes for the ambulance to reach the hospital, and, to Laskin, they were the longest 15 minutes of his life. It seemed more like 24 hours in hell, he said afterwards. Strangely, once the girl was in the hospital, the attack ceased, and although she was guarded night and day, nothing ever happened. She recovered and was released from the hospital 6 weeks later. Dr. Lara, once skeptical, was now deeply interested in the case and recorded, "What happened to Clarita Villaneuva is a complete mystery, something which defies description. She was repeatedly attacked by something with invisible sharp fangs. We shall never know what it was, but I don't mind admitting that I was scared stiff." And even today, Clarita still has bite marks all over her body. Evidence of the impossible was, unhappily, possible. Be me, 12-ish years old, in family friend's country home with cousins and friends, about 10 teens total. Let's play hide and seek. Fuck yeah, let's go. Around 8 PM or so, moon is up. The property was pretty big. The house was kinda to the right of the property, so it had about a car-wide corridor between it and the live fence. To the left was the pool and a game house, a snooker table and other shit. On the back, there were lots of orange and lemon trees. Doghouse to the left of those, and lots of green area overall, with very little light outside. You could throw yourself at the live fence and bam, you're the goddamn predator. Pretty much invisible. Hell, in some darker areas, just by laying on the ground, you would be pretty much 90% MGS camo index. Also, inside the house, game house, pool, and doghouse were forbidden. All else was fair game. Game starts. Everybody is having a good time. I'm seeking. Go to the back of the house. Duck to see from under the tree's canopy to see if there is someone's legs around. This is when some weird shit started to happen. Also, don't know if canopy is the right word here, but orange and lemon trees are fairly short, so they block pretty much all view from a standard person's height. The light from the house behind me is projecting all the shadows forward. From the tree's shadow right in front of me, I can see a torso shape leading from it. What could that be behind that post? But it is just a full torso. What? Those trees are not large enough for someone to lean like that from behind. Those trees are not tall enough either. Show friend that shadow. We both tactically nope the fuck out of there. Weird shit kept happening after that. Few rounds after, hiding now. Fucking parched. Fuck the rules, I'm getting some water. Get inside. Me being a dick, decide I'll just sit for a few minutes in the living room. Living room has windows facing the front and the right side of the property. Tinted glass, so can't see much except shadows outside. Lights on, so from the outside, you can't see shit inside. I'm safe being a dick. Hear little commotion. Notice 3 kids running on the right side, towards the trees in the back. Where is he? Where did he go? Perfect opportunity to slip back outside unnoticed. Get caught soon after. They all ask me, how the fuck did I just vanish back there? Tell them I never went back there. Tell them I was there, where they found me the whole time. They will never know. They said I was the last one missing, and they all saw me making a run for it, and they all chased me, then lost me behind the trees. Well, what? And the last one, when one of our friends hauled ass, tripping, like he had just encountered a fucking ghost, and we decided we had enough playing. Friend was hiding, sneaking behind doghouse. Said he saw someone tall standing behind it. Pretty tall, so he thought it was our lanky-ass friend back there. Went near it, and that's when he said he realized that something was wrong, because while it was dark, it wasn't pitch black. The house light still managed to light a bit back there, however dim, and when he got close, he realized that he was standing in front of a goddamn shadow. Like, it had the right shape of a person, but absolutely no features whatsoever. That thing was just standing there. He was pale white when we got to him, and almost in tears. We decided then that it was a damn fine time to play some SNES and snooker instead. Happened about a year ago. Parked at the middle of a large soon-to-be construction site. Outskirts of the city, surrounded by forest. Dead silent. Just chilling, standing outside of the car to get a break from sitting. Sudden unexplainable noise. Never heard something like it. Best I can describe it is mechanical and high-pitched. Sounded close. Startled. Look around, since I have a 360-degree view of the large open area. See nothing, but it is dark. Feel as if something is approaching fast. Shit. Quickly get in car. Lock the doors. Drive around in circles with high beams on, shooting in the tree line. Nothing. Still feel off. Get the fuck out. No clue what the fuck it could have been. Doubt it was my imagination, since I was comfy AF before it happened.